Hello everyone, I hope this video find you doing well. As we get ready to go into this 1 Samuel chapter 16, we're still here, but there's a few points I would like to pull out of this. Number one, let's talk about David becoming a king. Also, let's talk about having clean hands and a pure heart. I also want to show you how the process. So let's look at these 3 points real quick as we get ready to go further into 1 Samuel chapter 16. So when we look at 1 Samuel chapter 16, let's look at verse number 6. And what we see at verse 6 is Samuel has now got to the place where Jesse and his family are located. They're about to do the sacrifice of the heifer, of the cow. But now let's look at something. Samuel, immediately when he gets here, he says, surely this is the Lord's anointed. When he looked and see Jesse's oldest son, Eliab. And now watch this. When he see Eliab, he possibly sees some tall, handsome, nice-looking young man. But watch what the Lord does. The Lord tells Samuel, don't look at man, look at the outer appearance. And then the Lord backs it up and say, but the Lord, I've rejected him, but I look at a man's heart. So what is the Lord saying here? The Lord is possibly letting Samuel know that, Samuel, don't look at his countenance. Samuel, yeah, he's jolly, he's laughing, he's having a good time, he can move the crowd. You see, he's tall. Everybody notice him. Everybody see him. Yeah, he looks good. I mean, he's charismatic. He does a lot. But the Lord is saying, Samuel, don't look at that. Don't look at that, Samuel, because I have rejected him. Why did the Lord reject him? Could it be that, and let me say it to you like this. David was not God's first choice. How can we say that? David has 7 older brothers. So we can see that the Lord also lets us know through Eliab that I rejected him. And not only was Eliab rejected, but the other 2 who was viewed, might as well say the other 7, they were all rejected by the Lord. And could it be that through the process, now let's talk about this, the process, the Lord already had a process in place that was going to mature, develop, and grow, and get that person into looking as the king, like what he wanted that person to be and to look like. But could it be that those brothers, when they saw that, hey, they possibly went out there, they may have tended the sheep as well, but in their tending the sheep, was their heart or was their heart all the way in it? Did they really do it from the heart? Did they have the right motive in why they were doing it? Or were they doing it and were not doing it in the right attitude? So as the Lord was seeing this, that could have possibly been the way that he ruled them out and say, no, you're not the one. But now he's moving on. And when he gets to David, the youngest one out of Jesse's sons, who went through the most, because now David, he's the one who's in the field, and he's the one that the Lord is now seeing that David is tending these sheep. He's doing it with the right motive. He's doing it with the right attitude. He's doing it and not complaining about what he has been asked to do by his father. And see, even though it came through his father, it was still the Lord putting him in that place to hone him in, to develop him, to bring him into what the Lord wants him to look like. So many of you out there right now, I know you might be in a place, you might be in a position, you might be in an area of your life, and you might be saying, man, why I'm here? This don't feel good. It don't look good. Well, you're in the process. So let's talk about this process. And I need many of you to catch this. You might be going through what you're going through, and it's not going to be forever. It's not permanent. You're going through what you're going through because the Lord looked through time and he see that there's somebody in this family. There's somebody in this group. There's somebody on this job there's a blessing that's on the table, but I need somebody to do something. And what is that? To endure the process. I need whoever you are to endure this process, because this process, whoever endures this one, is going to cause them to be prepared. It's going to cause them to be able to handle this blessing that I have for them. And I love what Psalm chapter 24 is talking about. Here's David. And he's now talking about having clean hands and a pure heart. Who can stand? Who can stand in the holy place of the Lord? Also, who can also refrain from vanity? See, right there, that was part of the process. Whoever you are right now, you got to make sure that as you're going through your process, make sure you keep clean hands and a pure heart. What is that really coming down to, keep your integrity. Are you trustworthy? Can you still do what you have been asked to do in the right attitude? Can you still have the right motive as you're going forth to do what you have been asked or put in position to do? And see, when you do this, all that's doing, your life is being viewed privately by the Lord. And see, you're enduring the process. And see, that's the key. Can you endure that process? And see, that process is something that the Lord put in place. You didn't do it. Nobody else didn't do it. It was the Lord who put that process in place, because he know that if whoever this blessing here goes to, they have to endure this process. And watch this. The Lord already knew that he was going to have a king. When you go back to 1 Samuel chapter 8, you can see how the children of Israel, they seen the other nations and how they had a king who was able to rule and make decisions and choices for them. So now the children of Israel saying, Samuel, we want us a king. But the Lord is saying, look, I'm your king. But the children of Israel are asking for a king. So the Lord tells Samuel, Samuel, the people didn't reject you. They're rejecting me. I'm their king. So Samuel, give them what they want. Whoever you are right now, please, you have to be careful while you're in your process not to want something before it's time for you, before you're fully developed to handle what you're asking for. And let's look at something. Let's move on to Genesis chapter 17, verse 6. You can see the Lord already knew he was going to have to bring a king. And he tells this to Abraham. Abraham, there's nations within you. And also Abraham, in that same verse, he says, Abraham, there's going to also kings are going to also come from you. So look at this. 14 generations, the Lord already knew that from Abraham to David, that's 14 generations. The Lord already knew that I'm going to bring a king. Israel is wanting a king before the king is ready. But now the Lord gave them what they wanted, and King Saul did not work out. But David, the Lord already seen him coming. Whoever I'm talking to right now, just hold on, stand firm while you're in your process. Allow the process to do its work. Allow the process to continue to develop you. Allow the process to continue to build you, make you into who the Lord is calling for you to be. And see, when you allow the process to do its work, you're going to be mature in it. You're going to be developing it. You're going to be secure in it. Why? Because you endured the process. So when you look at this, the Lord was letting Abraham know, Abraham, there's kings in you. He already saw David. And now when Jesse had David, the youngest of his 8 sons, David endured tending to them sheep. When David also had 7 other brothers who possibly had that opportunity as well, but they didn't endure it. They wanted to pass that on to David. And when they passed it on to David, they didn't know that they was also passing on the blessing to David. And see, when David endured, because David, he tended to those sheep, he loved those sheep, he took care of those sheep, he protected those sheep. He did the process, he did the assignment, he did what he was asked to do. And because he did it properly, because he did it with the right motive, the Lord blessed him. So whoever I'm talking to this morning, endure your process. And please let me share this with you. In the process is not immediately. The process, it don't just happen overnight. You have to be willing to endure and go through the time that the Lord set in place. Because throughout the process, there's some things that you're going to have to endure. As we keep moving forward, let the process do its work in you so you could be all who God called you to be. I love you guys till we do this again. Have a blessed day.